author John Andrews, one of my favorite human beings on the face of the globe, is back. He's got a new book coming out. It has some fantastic reggae overtones, reggae undertones, and of course, as always, a fast-paced narrative when John Andrews takes pen and puts it to paper. So we're going to catch up with him. But important. And my next guest is somebody who just puts a smile on my face at the very thought of Mr. John Andrews. He's back. We talked about his Rude Boys series of books. There's another one coming pretty soon. We'll get to that. But he's got another new book just published. He's in town for a number of signings, and we are once again blessed by his presence. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here, Terry.
Good to see you, John. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal, man.
You look phenomenal.
Yes, sir.
So, as I told you a little bit, I've got questions about the Rude Boy, about Randy Bascom, for folks who haven't had a chance to read these books. Here's my Hollywood pitch: is that I believe that Rude Boy is the Jamaican Jason Bourne. That's right?
I like that.
It's
I like that.
nonstop action.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those books kept me moving. I felt like I was watching the film that I hope is soon to come. But I'm going to stop myself. Let's talk about the new book, Who Shot the Sheriff? Give folks a little window into kind of your thought process in putting this story together, because I think it's a really great, on the heels of talking about pop art and reinterpreting familiar icons as Spider-Man and Superman, as Devon does. In a way, I think you're in the same vein of taking familiar territory and yet making it fresh and new. Tell folks about Who Shot the Sheriff.
Well, first I must say that I cut my teeth on reggae music, and there's some reggae artists who I just love and appreciate, and I listen to a lot of reggae music. And when the thought occurred to me that I should write this mystery, I thought it would have been the hardest book for me to write. I thought it would take forever to write the book. But I set it up where I decided how many novels I was going to be writing in 2012, and I set a goal for 3 novels. And when I got my pen and paper and my laptop ready to write Who Shot the Sheriff, it was amazing. It flowed like no other book I've written. I've got 30 books in print. Except for the first book I wrote, which took a week, and that was about 80 pages. It flowed like no book has ever flowed. 3 weeks from the starting date, the book was ready to send to the editor. And it absolutely flowed. Now, I'll give you a little insight about Who Shot the Sheriff. What if an ex-convicted drug dealer, now clean, was put on trial for shooting the corrupt sheriff who helped to land him in prison? I started writing it, and it's all about the hustle and the flow. I know you've seen favorite movies like The Harder to Come, which is one of my all-time favorite, and you've seen Hustle and Flow.
Sure.
And you've also seen The Verdict. And it's that kind of setting. But it's set deep in the musical genre, and the character, Wesley Haynes, is just phenomenal, just phenomenal. The things that he has endured as an artist. And I believe that every singer, every artist should want to read Who Shot the Sheriff, because it has a lot to do with when people are going to stop you, when people are going to try to get in the way of your success, and when they're going to try to impede it. And you've got to be the type of person who, no matter what, you know that you're going to succeed and nobody's going to stop you.
And I have to say this, after having spent some time with the Rude Boy, I see now the parallels in your writing style and reggae music and in this
lyricism,
in this flow that now it all makes sense. It's making, I'm getting it all right after having spent some time. As I mentioned to you, I've had a great time with these 2 books. You know, summertime, in the sunshine, you know, take a cool dip in the pool, read a little bit. It's fast-paced, it flows. A cool drink. I mean, I have my summer reading style down to a science, as I'm sure you can tell.
Nice.
But one of the things that I was really getting, although now you're tying it like I say, more together in my mind is this lyrical flow. And I'm excited to get into Who Shot the Sheriff, and I want to encourage folks out there to think about how you love reggae music. There's so many people that get it now in a way that even 20 years ago, when I was first introduced to reggae music, that it was new, it was exciting to me, and now I feel like I'm not from the islands. I didn't grow up in Jamaica, but I've spent the time growing to love this style of music, and as you say, all the great artists, that there's this musicality that's on the page. Talk a little bit about that flow and about kind of getting in the mindset of letting it go, because writing at that pace, I mean, you must have to be ready to hold my calls and go after it, huh?
You know, it's a secret I used, and I listened to a lot of music while I was writing. A lot of reggae music, and I listened to just about every artist who have really enjoyed listening to their music, and I wanted to say, how can I fit their flow, their drive, their personality into Wesley Haynes?
Right.
How can I make this character a character who can speak for the Temptations, the Beatles, even people like Rihanna, who is into that reggae vibe. How can I make this character to be a character like them?
Right.
And I really put a lot into him, and readers will see. I totally. This book, I've got a lot of titles, Terry, and we spoke the last time about the Road Boy series.
Yes.
But I'm really excited about Who Shot the Sheriff, because this is a book that you can take into the prisons. And a prisoner is going to read this book and he'll say, how can I turn my life around? Look at what Wesley Haynes went through, and yet still he was able to turn his life around. And it's all about that redemptive process. Bob Marley said,
Redemption song.
Redemption
absolutely,
song.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk about where you're going to be signing, so the folks can get out, and I think folks have to meet you in person as well. It's good to buy your book. It's better to meet you and buy your book, get it signed, and give your spirit to the people. Where are you going to be?
Well, they've got me so booked up in Utah, maybe I got to stay here. This coming Friday, as a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to be at Dolly's. Dolly's at 3, and on Saturday I'm going to be there at 12. Dolly's. And then I go to the airport on Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. I'll be back at Salt Lake City Airport. I'm doing a signing there for one of the bookstores. And on the following weekend, I'll be at my favorite place, the Sugar House Barnes & Noble. I'll be there on Friday, Saturday, actually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Sugar House. So you'd have got me away for 9 days. Well,
yeah, that's
something.
That's good stuff.
Yes.
And where can folks find out more about you? Because we didn't, obviously, last time we talked about your story, about your life, and we're not getting into that tonight, but I want to encourage folks to learn more about you, because there's so much more that you're doing besides just writing these fun, great stories to be excited by. Tell folks where they can find out more online.
You can go to johnaandrews.com. That's John A. Make sure you put the A inside. johnaandrews.com. You can find out a lot about me there, and you can Google me. Google friendly. You can find me all over the place, and that's where I hang out. And I must say that now I'm spending a lot of time coaching my 2 sons. They're writing their first novel, so I'm coaching them on that, and I'm really excited. I can't wait for the release of that book.
Good for you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
It's always so great to see you.
It's always nice to be here, man.
Absolutely. I know
sir.
we'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
John A. Andrews, he is an inspiring person. I always love to hang out with him, and I want to encourage you to go see him at Dolly's this weekend. He's going to be around Barnes & Noble and Sugar House next week. Go to johnaandrews.com. He's got his schedule there, and learn more about this fascinating, talented writer,